Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David, and this is a deck review. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for being here. Today, we got a deck of cards from Luke Jermay. That's right, Luke Jermay and Vanishing Ink. What a great team. What a great team. And a great product, right? A great product. This is Apostles playing cards. Apostles playing cards. And so, of course, I saw new deck of cards, Luke Jermay, Vanishing Ink, possibly marked cards. I saw the word marked cards in the ad copy. I was like, I'm all over it. I'm all over it. Last time Luke Jermay put out a marked deck of cards, it sold out. It like sold out so fast. It came with like a ton of teaching and everybody was like going crazy for it. Remember marksman cards? They were awesome. It's a great deck of marked cards. And marksman came with a book. There was or you could buy a book separately, but there was a ton of stuff. And Luke Jermay loves marked cards. As a mentalist, he loves marked cards. So he's a huge advocate for it. This is a very interesting project. But of course, you want to see the cards, right? You want to see the cards before I talk about anything. Matte blue paper tuck, very nondescript, says Apostles and Vanishing Ink. Designed by Stefan Eriksson, manufactured in Belgium by Cardamundi. That's the tuck case. Let's look inside. First, let's look at the extras. Let's look at the magic part of the deck, okay? So right away, you'll get two jokers, okay? And it's just this cherub angel facing left and right. Falling, maybe, flying, perhaps. Let's say flying. Let's say flying. The other thing you'll get is a extra 3 of clubs, which of course is great for tons of magic tricks and card to impossible locations. And then you will also get this Joker Force card. Luke is going to teach you how to use this. I used to have the original version of this. It was a Luber Fiedler Force card, but it's a trick where you stick the card into the deck, right? You stick it face up. So this Joker goes face up into a face down deck. And when you roll it over, the spectator or yourself has found that your face up Joker has landed right next to your force card. So this is a special card that enables you to force a very specific card. And here's your back design. So like I said, Cardamundi. So you have a nice white thin poker border. You're gonna have those same angels, those same cherubs there here in a quad. And really this square is the pattern that's just repeated 4 times. Up here in the corner, you have two fish, you have a cross, you have a fish on each side here. And then you have a wheel there in the center with some dots, a center dot, and then a clock, 12 dots around it. Now, I did say marked cards a second ago. And I will tell you this right now. This back design is not marked. It is not marked at all. There's no marking on this back anywhere. Going through the faces, you're gonna have a exploded power ace there. This is Apostles, and you got the 2 angels. But then going through the deck, it's pretty much gonna be a standard deck. They're a little, like spade pips, they're a little custom there. You got some classic Arco court cards, right? But blacks are still black. Reds are red. Nice exploded diamonds there. They're not the small pips. They're a little bit bigger. There's your clubs, everything you'd expect. Traditional courts for your hearts, and your hearts just like you'd expect. All right, so let's get into the rest of this. Let's keep this discussion going. I got this from Penguin Magic, okay? It was $15. And usually when you buy a deck of marked cards, especially when the ad copy says, comes with a 30-minute tutorial. Comes with a 30-minute tutorial. I got the deck, opened it up, looked at the cards, didn't think of anything of it, went back to it later, and then said, huh, where's the 30-minute tutorial? So because I bought it from Penguin, I thought, well, maybe it's in my download section. So I went back to my downloads, not there. I was like, oh. So I wrote to Penguin and I wrote to Vanishing Ink, both, and I said, Where's the tutorial? And I'm not really even sure the answer I got. I was hoping there'd be a card inside the box, right? Like a link card, or maybe printing on the tuck case itself that had a hyperlink and a password. Neither of those things exist. There's no extra card in the deck that gives you the hyperlink. The hyperlink is not printed on the card box itself. So I would assume if you buy this from Vanishing Ink, they just send you the download. I don't know. I don't know, because it didn't happen. It didn't happen for me, so I don't know how it's supposed to happen. I went out to the forums and noticed that there were other people who said, hey, I got the Apostles cards, but I didn't get the video. Where's the video? So I got it by writing to the companies and proving, here's my order form, right? And then they sent it to me. So I don't know, if you pick these up, let me know. If you got these from Vanishing or if you got this from a third party, let me know how you ended up getting the tutorial, because I would have thought the link would have been in the box somewhere to make it easy, but mine didn't have one, so can't tell you. But after having watched the video, it's just Luc Jermay, mostly a static shot. He's seated at a table. He's gonna bring the cards out and he's gonna talk to you about the elements of it. So first he'll talk about the extra card, right? Different options you could do with a duplicate, but he doesn't give you any tricks, but he does point you in some directions for tricks if you don't know any. Then he's gonna talk about the force card. He spends a good deal of time talking about the Joker force card. And like I said, you're forcing a specific card. You're forcing one card. And you could do it as the magician, but the better way to do it would be to give the Joker to your spectator and have them insert it either into a fan or insert it into a spread or insert it into a waterfall as the cards drop. And then when you roll the cards over and fan them, the Joker is next to one card, and that's the card that you could then reveal or in some magical way. It's a great force card, and it's a wonderful gaff to include in a deck. I've never seen, like I said, when I bought this, I think I bought it from Hankley Magic Factory. It came with typed out instructions, and it was difficult to use because you had to force the card in a fan. And I wasn't really good at fans. And Luke has done it so that you can force the card in just a spread across the table, which is nice. The only other time I've ever seen this particular card made and sold, Daniel Madison had it included in one of his gaff decks. So I've seen it from Daniel, and now this is the second time, so from Luc Jermay. And Luke gives you some really good teaching with this. But what you want to know is, how come this marked deck isn't marked? All right, I'll tell you. The marked deck isn't marked because Luke has built this so that you could take a blue Sharpie marker, and against the blue ink that's on the back of this deck, it's matched so that you could mark this deck however you'd like. He's given you places to mark, and he shows you the places that are whited out, like you could take a white bubble and dot it, right? So think about this. You could have a deck of cards that has no marks, right? It could be your everyday deck. And when you're ready to do a marked trick, you could bring out the marked cards. Now you have custom cards that are unmarked, but you could mark them with a special deck. You could also mark a deck specifically for a single trick. Let's say you wanted to just mark the aces, right? Or mark the royal flush and spades. You could do that. You could mark the cards for suit and value using that clock, using that wheel method that I showed you that's in the center of the card. You could mark them for one-way direction, one-way backs. You could mark them for a very quick red and black, right? You wanted to separate red and black really fast. You could mark a whole deck for red and black. You could mark a whole deck for suit, right? So it's up to you. It's custom. And the great thing about it is, let's say you go with Luke's recommendation and you mark the cards exactly like Luke teaches. Well, because you took that time to mark them, you are then learning the marking system as you create. So what a beautiful way to teach marked cards. that instead of giving you the marks and just say, learn it, he gives you the tools to mark your own cards, and then you are learning it as you create. So you are learning the marking system because you took part in it. You participated. Active learning, right? Now, I will say that when you have a Sharpie marker and cards, be careful. They always say, measure twice, cut once. So as you mark your cards, just take your time. Don't space out, because all it takes is you mismark one card and you ruin it, right? You'd have to go buy a whole nother deck. You mismark one card and it's ruined because you can't unmark the card after you mark it, right? So what's the bad news? The bad news is that wheel is right there in the center, right? Which means you have to have a full view of a full back to read. You can't read from just that, right? You can't read from a spread. You have to see the whole back to read. And when he marks for suit, he goes across the entire top, which means you really need to see the full card, right? You not only need to see the center, but you need to see the entire upper. And also remember that if you're marking the upper part of the deck for suit, you need to mark the other side as well. So every card would need you to touch it multiple times. You gotta make sure you mark here and here, right? So that was one thing, right? You have to have a full view of the card. The second thing that I didn't love is that the wheel is in the center, which means if you're marking it for suit, right? That means it has a one-way direction. A clock has a top and a bottom. But what if my card is turned this way? Then what? Then the marks become harder to read, because I didn't learn to read the card like this. I learned to read the card like this. So if you end up seeing the card and you realize the orientation is wrong, there's an awkward moment where you have to spin it around to read it. You should never do that. You should never make a gesture that looks like I'm trying to read the backs. And he didn't cover how to mark this for orientation. At least I don't remember him saying to mark it for orientation. Now, I guess that means you should, right? You should mark it for orientation so that you know which direction the wheel goes. But usually when there's a wheel mark, the wheel's in the corners so that you can read it from both ends, not in the center. What else can I tell you? The cards are made by Cardamundi, right? Which means they're gonna look and feel and handle great. 10 cards in the caliper come to 2.63. 2.63 is nice and thin, which means they'll shuffle well, bend well, they'll feel like a broken in deck right out of the box. And I got mine from Penguin Magic, but maybe I would recommend that you buy it from Vanishing Ink if you are a little bit more concerned about getting that tutorial. So yeah, see what happens if you buy it from Vanishing Ink, and let me know, did you get these? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.